And a crowd of more than 5,000 people gathered tonight at CHI Health Center Arena to celebrate Jim Pillen at the new governor's inaugural ball. Governor Pillen was sworn in this week at the state capitol, and seen at the dinner was Omaha Mayor Gene Stothert and former Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts. During his speech, Pillen became emotional as he discussed his father. He wants him to see his farming operation now. He also became emotional talking about the state, which he is now the leader of.